What's up, guys? How we doing?
So all your players talk about how you bring the juice.
Right.
Can you get, I guess, bring the juice with us, or tell us what bring the juice means? Because I mean that's like a universal.
No, you're gonna have to have a little trust for me to bring the juice with you. No, you know what? It's the energy, and we expect them to have energy. We feel like as coaching staff we got to reflect that or inspire that. So loud, energetic, moving fast, constantly questioning them on the field. Walking by the hallway if their head's down and they're slumping. Occasionally do you yell at them? Do you have any juice? They'll jump and get startled, but that's it. You know what I mean? Just happy to be here, right? This is a great thing we're all doing. Players, coaches, the whole works.
What's the feeling of getting? I mean, I know it's been a team effort on the offensive side, but how good is it for you? Those 3 years before you came to Georgia, you were calling plays, and now you're
Right.
back in that role, that specific role. Is there some energy that comes with that? Is there some excitement that comes with being back in that position?
Definitely excited. I think I never lost my excitement. Every challenge is new. Every coordinator job is new. Every position job is new. The people that you're around cause that to be new. The environment, the time that you're in currently. But yeah, when you get the opportunity, you're excited. But then you jump into it, and then the excitement it is what it is, right? It's what you do. So, being that's what you do, you do work, and you don't really I don't sit down there at night going, "Wow, how great!" No, I'm down there at night going through scripts.
Jim, you're taking over a offense that was relatively last year.
Right.
Some talent returning.
Right.
What's your thoughts on taking it, I guess, to the next level?
That's what we do every day. That's kind of the theme. That's what Coach Smart expects from us as coaches, as players. So it's not that we weren't taking it to the next level. It's the demand, right? That's how we work here. So, there are some good players. We play against really good players. We all understand that, the challenge is to be better, always be better the day before, more so than just, hey, we got to be better next week. That's really not it. We got to be better the next drill. So, going into this job, what's ahead of you. You know what you have now. Whether it's off season or in season, right? Right now we're getting in this. We're in this training camp mode. We're figuring out little by little, where we're at with some of the guys, how much they have to improve, and benchmarks not there yet. We're still in jerseys.
After being an offensive coordinator at a couple of different spots, do you find it unique at all to be able to work with a quarterback like James Coley, who's just so detailed, so has such a work ethic?
Yeah, Jake's a grinder, and that's one of his. It's part of his greatness that we say in our room. What's your greatness today? What are you going to be great at? And he's a constant grinder, right? So it's always inspiring to go in there when a guy it really matters to that person, So that's being with other guys are the really great quarterbacks, or the really good quarterbacks. The good ones do have that. They have that passion for the game, and he's passionate, And so, the constant strive for him is to bring it every day, which he does, and to get better every day, and so that one day he can become great.
How do you weigh, when you have incoming freshman talent receivers like Pittman and Bulldogs, how do you weigh the simplification of the scheme to get them on the field versus James Coley to make the play calls and adjustments to the line screen?
How do you weigh it? Meaning,
In terms of how far you want to go get them on the field, how much can you simplify?
right. Well, first of all, I don't think you simplify it for them early. I think you figure out how much they can retain, how much they can, what are they bringing into the table, and then at some point you sit back and say, okay, this guy has exceptional skill. We're going to feature him doing this and that because this might be too much. But ultimately, the goal is not to be, so complicated that you can't execute. You want to be complicated enough so you're not predictable. So those kids have been thrown in the fire a little bit this early in this camp. We want to see what they know, what they can pick up, and what they can do. I think the biggest thing is, and again, we're still in jerseys, right? Just coming to work every day, and enjoying the atmosphere of what we have, and being positive with learning and the learning curve, because it's definitely different every place you go. He's a veteran, and he's learning our culture. So big thing also that he brings experience. So where you sit back and you say, well, I wonder if this guy's going to make this play in a particular time. Veteran guys, you've seen it happen. You know that they've been in those spotlights.
You're in his 1 year crossover there at Miami. I mean, your relationship, knowing him,
Right.
Did that play into it at all, your decision to pursue and go after him?
He was a good player. I think a lot of us recruited him out of high school. I did. Obviously, we signed him at Miami. I know at Alabama, that crew when Kirby was there recruited him. So we all had some sort of relationship with Cager. His skill set, when he became available, also made it, a very intriguing thing to go after. But, knowing him a little bit further, working for a full year, you knew what type of character kid he is. So, yes.
Obviously, offensive line, in your time with the line, for that deep, with this much expectations.
Been very fortunate to be around some really good offensive line. In this group, when you're saying it on paper, potentially, they have that potential. We're still in jerseys, and in our game, it is what? It is a constant improvement on the field. The paperwork's kind of out the door, and I'm not saying paperwork regarding you guys and what you guys do, but I'm just saying now it's competition, and the depth chart, when you have depth with no injuries, right? Now you start seeing the level of competition, which helps you out within your periods. So this is probably a deep group going into training camp and in training camp and there's heated competitions going on. So it's good, helps you, it makes people better, and that's where it stands out.
Having coordinated offenses at Florida State and Miami, and now you're doing it at Georgia, how much is James Coley and how much is the head coach that you're working for? Like, do you have to adjust some things you like to do to meet the philosophies that Kirby wants his offense to?
Well, I think in the pro style game, you coordinate to your players. Players, not plays, right? It's a little cliche in the coaching profession, but it's the truth. Players, not plays. So Coach Smart is all about players and not plays. I think he definitely preaches that to us. And sometimes as coaches, you forget, and you're like, man, this scheme is really intriguing, but are your players touching the ball within this scheme? So, I don't know that there's been an adjustment. I've been here several years. I think that the philosophy that we have here at Georgia is that, who's touching the ball and are they the guys that are going to give us the biggest impact? But you definitely got to play towards your strength. So I've always been a part of that where I've been. So.
Obviously, Miami, different
Totally,
situation,
yep.
different personnel, but how much do you think you've changed because of who you're calling plays there, experience, and how similar would you say you are to that guy that's calling plays there?
Oh, I think your personnel changes you. So your personnel changes you completely. Whatever you have, wherever you're going, wherever you've been. I was coordinator at Florida State. We had different personnel than when I was at Miami. They have different personnel than we are here. So I think that changes you as a coordinator when you're a pro-style guy. If you come in here with a system and, you're running, one of these spread systems and the system is what it is, I think when you're pro-style, you really feature on who's touching the ball, how we're going to formate it for that person to touch the ball, how we're going to attack structure, for those people to touch the ball. So it changes what I'm basically saying with your jobs. Obviously coming here, working under Coach Smart, it's football one-on-one every day. I mean, there's constant situations. He really pushes his coaches, develops his players, develops his coaches. So I feel like the last 3 years has been great for me as a coach, position coach, learning everything I've learned under him and his philosophy and his system.
Having coached some big-time tight ends and
Sure.
Joe Crew, guys like that.
Yeah.
You look at Charlie and kind of his potential. He hasn't had really a chance to be that number one guy at that position yet. Where do you see his potential, and how big of an impact do you think he can have in this offense?
Right. I think, the potential part, it's hard for us right now because we're not in the potential mode in camp. We're in the grind mode, right? So I got to think back and say, okay, where is Charlie at? Where right now we have Charlie in different situations, wearing multiple hats, and just seeing how much he can do. I think Charlie has a really good skill set. I think who he is as a person makes him a better competitor because he wants to be that good. Comparing him to the other guys, he's a little different from a lot of these other guys, and all those other guys are very different. Njoku's very different from Herndon. That's very different from Clyde Walford. That's very different from Nick O'Leary. Right? Those are all guys that are different. And Charlie is probably a bigger guy than most of those guys. And I think Charlie has a right mindset right now. After day three, we're gonna see where he's at towards the end of camp, and this who he is as a person, and we know how he competes. He was probably the highest percentage catcher for us last year at 90%. So we'll see. We'll see what he has.
Last year, do you see that going up this year with your observation?
Day three, and coming out of spring, D-Rob, has continued to improve. Within our system, he's definitely a guy who's got a great skill set. He's fast, he's quick. We just got to continue to develop him into the type of player we need him to be. And right now he's playing multiple spots, so he's as a player he's growing. I think that's the biggest part for him, is to continue to grow within our system. Coming out of high school, he was a really good athlete, and now when he went to college, he's learning to be a wide receiver, right? I think Coach Hankton's done a good job with him. I like what I see right now. I just want to see it continue. I want to see some consistency from these guys.
When you talk about Eli's strength and speed compared to the other tight ends, did you know that when you brought him in, and did he fill the model role, or is it different roles for those tight ends?
Well, certain guys can do certain things. So if you're the best, if you sit there and you say you're the best five offensively, philosophically, how are you going to use their skill set? His skill set is, we're just tapping into it because we're probably going into pads today, right? So we're going to figure out some more, about their skill sets. But, he does move well. He's a wide receiver coming out of high school. So, he's got the ability to run routes. He's got good hands. So we'll see. We'll see where he goes. But yes, that was very intriguing. Us seeing Isaac go to the NFL and him taking. It opens the opportunity for a lot of catches for whatever five guys can fit those roles to get that. But he's definitely in competition. Again, going back to your question, we're like a D-Rob, and see if he fits within the five guys that are available in the skill sets where we'll create our personnel groups, right? Zamir, again, I've said this, jerseys, right? But love seeing the kid play, right? We love this kid, so very unfortunate his injuries. So just seeing him out there getting plays, running the ball, catching swing passes, and picking up protections. It's fun. It's fun coaching him because how grateful he is to be back out there, right? Just love the kid, though. It's Moose. You know what I mean? He's a big dude.
In terms of going back to the whole recruiting manual and adding guys, how does your history of being in Miami, how does that give you an asset to build relationships down there with the South Florida player, I suppose, and bringing guys from Miami up here?
Right. It helps. It definitely helps. The relationships that I have down there are, lifelong relationships with guys that I grew up with, right? So it definitely helps in recruiting. Help me with your boy Javon Wims, right? You guys still buddies?
Talk a little bit.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Tell him to call me. But yeah, it helps. It helps.
Are you going to be in the press box?
We haven't decided that yet. Yeah, we're still talking through it. Yeah.
Last year, what was the dynamic like with you and Jim? Did Jim call the plays? Did you
Sure, yeah.
consult? What was it?
Oh, we definitely consulted in between series, but Jim called all the plays. Jim headed the whole deal. I was kind of his right hand up in the press box, and he'd turn around and say, "Hey, look at these, different scenarios, and tell me what you think." And then he'd choose what he liked. So that was our dynamic. Yeah.
You mentioned things about Jake that make him similar to some of the great quarterbacks that you've been around in the past. Anything different about him that makes him stand out, that makes him unique among guys?
Again, and when you talk about all these other guys, they all have their greatness to them. Every single one of them. They're the guys I've been around. It's hard to find guys that are carbon copies of each other. One thing I do know about Jake is I'm not walking in the meeting room without him not being in there. Right? So he's already watched the film. He's already sitting there going, "Okay, what do you got for me? I've watched it. You got anything new?" So it challenges you as a coach. You got to go in there and you got to make sure that you are maximizing his potential in the meeting room, so he can go maximize it on the field, because he does so much work on his own. And I think that's it. All the extra work he does. And I've been around some guys that do a lot of extra work, and he probably does a little bit more than I've been around.
Small sample size so far, obviously, with Kid McIntosh, but what did you guys see from him in high school that made you target him?
Bigger back, just a guy to be able to move in the backfield. Showed that he had bursts and really good hands out of the backfield. Played in a fast league down in South Florida. You got to see him play against fast people. Sometimes that transition from high school to college, I take the plays and learning the system out of it, the physical part of it. When guys play around against fast competition, it's a plus, because there's not a learning curve physically for them. There's just a mental learning curve. So. Nah. I love Javon. Jim and Javon go way back, but I love Javon. We speak often, Javon and I. So, no.
Well, and that's asking, so how do you feel about the guys you have? I know there's a lot of guys that are
I'm excited about the guys we have. I'm excited that they're competing as hard as they're competing. Day 3, going into day 4. I love the fact that they're out there grinding now. There's a lot of things that we require from them coming in and out of meetings, and the challenge is on, right? So there's big opportunity for them. So that's our excitement, that they have an opportunity to help us fulfill some of the losses we had with the skill positions.
James Cook comparable to Dalvin Cook?
Is James Cook comparable to Dalvin Cook? Dalvin's a great player, right? James is little brother, so I think James is moving towards that. I think they're both different players, though. I think you don't see Dalvin Cook and James Cook in the same light. They're different. And if you watch their games, you'll know that they're different.
The wideouts having the opportunities that you mentioned, how much of that?
Was this the 5th question after the 2nd? Hey, I think you said it in Spanish. Okay. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, how much of that is on Jake, how much of that is on you, and how much of that
Say it
is
again, start it from the beginning.
Yeah, with the wideouts having the opportunities that you mentioned, how much of that is on Jake, how much of it is on you, and how much of it is on them to get to the point where they need to be ready for the season?
All 3, right? I mean, it's all 3. It's on them winning